Well, I hate to break the news to you, buddy, but you're not even getting in the tournament anymore. I'm an Alabama fan, but more than anything, I'm a college basketball fan, and what I saw all throughout the season from this North Carolina team, it was nothing short than an embarrassment to the game. Well, guys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, I wish I could sit up here and say I'm shocked about this, but I am not, and I think most of you, if you've been watching for over a year now, you know this. I said this last year about this same North Carolina team. It's the same team minus Brady Manek. We'll talk about that a little later, that this North Carolina team is not that good. And I also vividly remember over a year ago, and I tried telling you guys that Caleb Love is not that great of a player, and I got a ton of backlash for that as well. But just like with anything and everything in this life, time will tell. And I'm going to give the college basketball community and the North Carolina fan base some credit because this year, you were starting to agree with me and see what I've been trying to tell you. And oh yeah, by the way, we're not doing no intro, none of that. We got one topic and one topic only to discuss, and it deserves its entire video itself, and that is this North Carolina basketball team. I do want to remind you guys before we go any farther, March Madness, it is right around the corner. Brackets are coming out on Sunday, and I will be filling out a bracket. That is the most requested video I've gotten up to this point is, Matt, whenever the brackets come out, you gotta post one. Trust me, we're gonna do all that stuff. I love March Madness, one of my favorite times of the year, so if you do like content like this, consider joining our community. If you've been keeping up with the channel, you would know that my favorite sport to talk about, my favorite sport in general, that's college football. That's what consumes most of this channel up. It's my favorite, and it's not even close. However, my second favorite sport, my second favorite thing to talk about is college basketball. I know that may shock some of y'all. I like the NFL, I like the NBA, but when it comes to my second favorite sport, definitely college basketball. I do understand and realize that not many people out here like college basketball, but I've always liked it ever since I was a kid. It's right up there with college football. And I would love nothing more than to post a ton of videos during March Madness, so let me know in the comment section if you guys want to see that. I'm not too sure if you guys even care about March Madness as much as me and some other people, so like I said, drop the comments down below. If y'all don't want to see it, then we won't do it. But anyways, that is besides the point. Different video for a different day. Let's get back on track with North Carolina. Last year, this same North Carolina team with Brady Manek, they struggled all throughout the regular season, and they barely sneaked into the NCAA tournament. I can't remember exactly. I'll show you right here. Their overall record was 29-10, but remember, they made it to the championship game, so they ended the year on like a 5-game win streak. They ended with a championship loss, but I believe they ended the regular season something like 24-9, something like that. They weren't one of the last teams to get into the tournament, but they were on the bubble watch and they got in. You get the point. All throughout the season in 2021 through 2022, they just looked like an average team. I watched every single game last year. They was really talented, super talented. They just couldn't put it together. Luckily enough though, when they got into the NCAA tournament, boom, it's like they flipped a switch and everything was clicking. It was a dream run, and it's so unfortunate that they lost the championship game. I still can't believe they blew that lead. I was rooting for them. I was hoping they'd win it all. And it sucks they didn't win it all because now that run, it seems like it was all for nothing, but to me, I'll never forget it. RJ Davis playing out of his mind. Caleb Love, he was hitting every single shot. It was just unreal. They had everything that a championship team needs. They just didn't pull it out in the end. They had the veteran they could rely on in Brady Manek. They had Armando Bacot. They had the lockdown defender in Leaky Black. RJ Davis, like I said, he was a true point guard, and Caleb Love, he was your last second shot type of guy. It was a dream scenario and dream lineup that if it could click, it could be a championship team, and we saw that. Fast forward in time though, they lose to Kansas, and everybody's like, okay, what are the guys going to do? Is Caleb Love going to leave? Is RJ Davis going to leave? Is Armando Bacot going to leave? Leaky Black? And they all decided to come back. I remember everybody hyping this up, and I knew deep down I was like, oh no, this ain't gonna work out. I could see this happening from 1,000 miles away. I would have felt differently about the situation if this team last year would have went 30-3. But the fact they struggled all throughout last season with Brady Manek and got hot at the right time, I knew that was a red flag. North Carolina and Hubert Davis, they had all these guys returning. They was preseason #1. It seemed like a match made in heaven, and yet here we are today. They didn't even make the NCAA tournament, or they're not going to. Ladies and gentlemen, that's history. A preseason #1 team has never failed to make the tournament. And you want to know what sucks about this? I'm not happy about it. I was rooting for North Carolina to beat Virginia last night. I was rooting for them to get into the tournament. I want to see what they can do. But the sad part about it is they don't even deserve to be mentioned for the tournament. Now, I'm sure the committee, or whatever you want to call them, the board of the NCAA, they'll at least talk about them a little bit because it is North Carolina. They got the brand. But at the end of the day, everybody agrees on this. They got a very, I don't even know if it's a 1% chance. It's somewhat below that chance of getting in. They finished the year something like 1-10 in quad one games. You just simply can't put them in. They have no good wins whatsoever, and what's even crazier about it is last night, if they would have beat Virginia, they probably would have got in. Look, the committee, everybody in the country wants to put you in for ratings simply alone, but you have nothing to show for it. There's nothing on North Carolina's resume you can point to and go, oh yeah, they should be in. Speaking of the Virginia game last night, if you watched it, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to talk about the game too much itself, but that basically described North Carolina's season. That was the season in a nutshell. I watched almost every single game this year for North Carolina, and that's how most of them went. If Caleb Love does not have a good game, they do not win. And oh, well, what do you know? Caleb Love, 3 for 15, 2 for 10 on threes, 11.6 assists. Now, I am going to take up for Mr. Love in this aspect. All throughout the season, when North Carolina, nobody could get open and everybody's standing still, picking their nose in the corner, they would throw the ball to Caleb Love with 6 seconds left, and he had to force up some crazy shot. That is a large reason why Caleb Love looks so bad this year, because he got no help whatsoever. And I'm not going to be like all these other North Carolina fans and say, oh, Caleb Love's the reason this season was so bad and he's the reason we lost to Virginia. I'm not going to do that. But here's what I am going to say. He is a big chunk and reason as to why North Carolina had a bad season. And it's the same thing as last year. There's only one X factor on North Carolina. It wasn't Brady Manick. It wasn't Leaky Black. It wasn't RJ Davis. It wasn't Armando Bacot. It's Caleb Love. If he's hitting shots, this is a really good / great team. They can beat anybody. But if he's not hitting shots, they can also lose to anybody. We saw this same stuff go on last year. The only difference is Caleb Love got hot. And another reason I have no problem with pointing the finger at Caleb Love a lot is because RJ Davis, I thought he had a great season. RJ Davis was really good this year, averaged 16 points per game, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and shot nearly 44% from the field. Caleb Love, on the other hand, yeah, you average nearly 17 points per game, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, but he shot a miserable 37.8% from the field. That is bad. Shooting 40% from the field ain't too pretty, but shooting 37.8%? Come on, man. It looks bad on paper, but trust me, it looked worse watching it live. And here's my biggest critique on Caleb Love. It's not him shooting 38% from the field. It's the fact that he shoots way too many three-pointers. What did he shoot this last game, for example? It speaks for the entire season. There is no excuse for Caleb Love to shoot 10 threes. If Caleb Love was 5'9", 5'10", 5'11", I would understand it, but he is 6'3" and he's not skinny. He's a strong point guard or shooting guard. My bad. And saying he's 6'3" might be an understatement. North Carolina's got him at 6'4", 200 pounds. Every single time I watch Caleb Love drive to the basket, he finishes with the best of them with his right hand, left hand, and floaters. Or a lot of times he'll drive into the paint, do that jump stop, and turn around and shoot a fadeaway. There's a lot of times when Caleb Love is driving, I feel like nobody can stop him. And also when he's driving, he gets other people involved and it makes the offense flow. However, when he does an isolation on the wing, dribbles for 15 seconds and shoots a 1-foot step back fadeaway and airballs it or it barely grazes the rim, yeah, that's terrible offense. In that play I just described to you, I just told you, it happens at least 7 times a game. That's on Caleb Love because I highly doubt the coaching staff enjoys watching that as well. Moving along here to the head coach, Hubert Davis. He's the one that's getting all the backlash, which is rightfully so. When you win, the players get praise. When you lose, the coach, he gets the hate. Here's all I'm going to say about that. The only thing I despise about this North Carolina offense is the fact they don't utilize Leaky Black. They got Leaky Black listed as 6'9", 205 pounds. I think he's more so of 6'7". My problem with Leaky Black is nobody can stop this guy when he's driving. He creates so many plays, yet they stick him in the corner. This stat line you're looking at right here from the Virginia game, this is how every single stat sheet looks from every game. RJ Davis normally has a good shooting night. Caleb Love normally has an average or subpar shooting night. And Leaky Black always, I don't know what it is about the number 7, but he's always shooting 7 shots per game. You will rarely ever see Leaky Black attempt more than 9 shots per game, and same thing for Pete Nance. And disregard Bacot's stats because he was hurt in the game last night, but for the most part, all throughout the season, he was really solid. And that's the only player I feel bad for because Armando Bacot is the only player that actually seemed like he genuinely cared. Everyone else seemed like they could care less to be there. They didn't want to win. This isn't complicated. North Carolina simply did not care whatsoever. All throughout the season, all I saw was uninspired basketball. That's all it was. It was uninspired hoo-ha, hee-haw basketball. We're just going to turn it on whenever we get into the tournament. That's all it seemed like. Every single game, everybody's like, okay, Yeah, they don't look that good, but they'll flip the switch. Oh yeah, they don't look that good. They lost by 20 or 15, but whenever they get into the tournament, that's when the real games start. Well, I hate to break the news to you, buddy, but you're not even getting in the tournament anymore. I'm an Alabama fan, but more than anything, I'm a college basketball fan, and what I saw all throughout the season from this North Carolina team, it was nothing short than an embarrassment to the game. That's all it was. Nothing more to be said. As to where they go next from here, I have no idea whatsoever. I don't know what you do, but the good news is next year you're going to get a clean house. You're going to get some new guys come in, and you're not going to fire Hubert Davis, so you can just quit all that nonsense. They're not going to fire a guy that made it to the championship only a year ago. I do think next year we'll really see what Hubert Davis is about, but you're not getting rid of him in this offseason. No way. And even me myself, I don't think Hubert Davis is the next Coach K, but you still got to give him some time. We'll see what happens. Let me know your thoughts down below, but